So I thought I'd take a few minutes here to go over a few of the new features that are included in Hindsight version 2.02, which should be available when this video goes live. So the first feature is part of the step sequencer, not the effects, the step sequencer. So in previous versions, every time you would either manually trigger a new pattern with the random button, or if you have auto random turned on, the pattern generated would be 100% random. Using this number box here, you can make the randomness a bit more controlled, and it will more closely follow the original sequence. So as you can see, when we're triggering randoms, they kind of hover around the step that would be if it was just the standard loop. So turning that up, you get more and more randomness, and then at 100%, it's basically the default behavior. The next feature is something that I implemented to make it a bit easier to use the manual chopping on the push in odd time signatures. Say you're in 6/8 or 5/4, or in this case, I have a little groove in 7/8 to demonstrate this. So I'm just going to capture a loop and show you what the behavior was in previous versions. So we've got our loop here. Let's go ahead and capture it. And now I'm chopping, and the kick drum it sounds fine, but as soon as you get further away from that, you can hear that it's kind of in between the beat. And to get around this, we use the loop divisions parameter, and this takes away or adds active pads, as you can see on the hardware. Let's go to 14. So this will be 16th notes in 7/8. So you can hear that all of those are perfectly in line on the beat on the 16th note. Excuse me. And this corresponds, or actually interacts with the loop modification, so I'll just show you that as well. So let's capture this loop again. So you have a loop. Let's make the length just 1 for now and turn on. So in previous versions, this wouldn't be a 16th note. It would be a little bit shorter than a 16th note. And so now we can, all of these are going to be perfectly in time. And so using this and the stutter sequencer, you can get some polymetric stuff going on. So let's maybe do a 5 against 6 thing. Let's turn the sequencer on. Let's open it up. Let's just initialize this. Length, we'll go with 6, and we'll offset that somewhere. Let's go to 8. Okay. And so now if we grab this, I think I have some stuff going on here. Oh, this is in 16th. So, I mean, you could feel free to use the tight rhythm and then something a little bit wacky. But if we go here, and these will cycle over each other. Now I have a 6 against 7. And so it just opens up some more possibilities for really precise rhythmic variations. I also thought I'd take a little bit of time to kind of demonstrate a few of the ways that I use this device for processing different things. I'm going to start with the drums and just kind of show you the basic way that I kind of set this up for drum processing. This can process incoming audio in real time, so you don't have to record a loop in order to use the grab sequencer as I'm doing here. But there are a few things I like to do when setting up a drum loop. I'm going to turn auto random on, so every time it wraps around, a new pattern will be generated. I'm going to turn it on for the amplitude as well, so each slice will have its own amplitude, it'll have its own speed and panning. Let's just hear how that sounds on its own. Then when you blend that with the incoming audio, you can get some really cool variations. One thing I like to do is kind of let this run for a minute or two, and just record the output and pick out the good stuff. So that's one way that I like to use this on drum tracks. I'd also like to demonstrate how this tool can be used with live instrument input. I'll be using the looper in grain mode. So turn grain mode on. I'm going to pitch it up. I'm going to slow it down. And this is going to basically create textures out of whatever I put into it. Let's just listen to the bass on its own so you can hear how this sounds, and then we'll play it along with some other instruments. One thing to note, you'll want to turn the looper on, turn overdubbing on, and turn scale. You could have it as low as 0, and that'll completely remove the previous material from the buffer, or if you want a little bit to remain and kind of build on itself, turn that up a little bit. I'll put it at about 30. So that is one of the things that I have a lot of fun with using this tool for. It sounds great on bass, but you can put anything into it, and I'm sure interesting stuff will come out. So that wraps up this update video. Thank you for everyone who has already purchased it, shown any interest whatsoever in this project. I really do appreciate it. This might be the last update, as it's fairly feature complete at this point, but I'm moving on to other ideas that I've been kicking around for a while. So thanks again, and there will be a link to purchase and download in the description.